And so my opinion, bro fell off. He needs to touch grass. He was being glazed by all these other social media influencers, having them on their channel, to all of a sudden criticizing everyone while saying that time under tension has been debunked, while at the same time, you should use time under tension. And so if you're looking for maximum hypertrophy, reps in the range of 5 to 50 appear to be optimal. Coach Greg, in today's video, I'm calling out Wolf Coaching. Wolf Coaching is run by a science guy. He has a PhD. His name is Milo Wolf. And so, great name. And so he has a PhD, just like Mike Israetel. And so he knows way more than Coach Greg. And so in today's video, he's going to call out 4 other YouTubers and explain how they all got it wrong. And so in the video, I see in the thumbnail, we have Jeff Cavalier, Ryan Humiston, Jeff Nippard, and Jeremy Ethier. And so, is he perhaps just clickbaiting? And I've already watched the video, and bro advertises his app more than I advertise my freaking cookbook. More than my cookbook, my Geo2 Max, and my Turk Builder that are all on sale on my website, code Greg, 15% off. And so, has he perhaps been watching Coach Greg videos? He's calling people out who didn't get things wrong, and he's gonna try to prove that they got things wrong by sciencing it. But remember, just because I don't have a PhD doesn't mean I don't have a PhD in seeing through the bullshit. And so by the end of the video, you're gonna agree with me. It's very easy and obvious. I've spoken to a number of people all watching the same video as me, and we all came to agreement. And so I'm not gonna say names, but here's a screenshot. Yeah, what a joke. Definitely responding to this. Yo, these guys have holes everywhere in their research. Doing a reaction on this guy. One of the RP minions saying that TUT is outdated, but a set of 20 to 70 seconds duration is best for hypertrophy. But he continues to say if you're doing reps between 5 and 50, unless you're doing incredibly fast, you should be in that duration range. Isn't that time under tension? You've cooked. And so let's watch the video. These guys, they think that just because they have a PhD, they can get away with anything that they say. Thankfully, Coach Greg is here annoyingly to save the day.
These workout ideas are outdated. Focusing on them is, at best, making your program more complicated than it needs to be.
And so apparently focusing on this, it's making your program more complicated than last time. That you shouldn't be following this. It's outdated, and that science proves it doesn't make any sense.
At worst, it's actually reducing how much muscle you're growing.
And so at worst, it may in fact be reducing your amount of gains. And so let's see. Let's start with his first theory. What exactly has science gotten wrong?
First, the concept of time under tension. This is a bodybuilder classic. Instead of focusing on the number of reps, focusing on time under tension is supposed to boost your muscle growth. Jeff Cavalier continues to preach this.
And so he's calling out Jeff Cavalier that time under tension, it's not valuable. That all you have to do is focus on the reps and you don't need to time your sets.
If you disregard time under tension, you could arrive at the conclusion that a set of 1 rep is a great way to build muscle. However, that's about where the good sides of the focus on time under tension end.
And so he states, well, look, if you do just 1 rep, it's a little bit too short, but you don't have to focus on the movement itself. Just count the reps. Time under tension is just bro talk for don't fling the weights around. From the Jeff clip, it seems that he isn't even talking about time under tension. He just says that you want tension in the working muscle. And so has Wolf Coaching already sold out? I mean, he's supposed to be a scientist. All he cares about is science. But with the amount of advertisements for his app, is he really just focused about science or about clickbaiting the video to make it look like Jeff Cavalier doesn't know what he's talking about? Yeah, that wasn't a fair criticism. The Jeff glazing is crazy. Yeah, that was a weird clip to choose. And so already being called out in the comment section. Next comment, you're better than your thumbnails. And so he's literally putting outdated 4 workout ideas just debunked. And so in the thumbnail, he's clearly depicting Jeff Cavalier, Ryan Humiston, Jeff Nippard, and Jeremy Ethier on purpose because those are very famous social media influencers. And so he's trying to paint them in a bad light to make you want to click on the thumbnail. And so has Wolf Coaching sold out? These debunked workout ideas will soon be re-debunked and then bunked and then debunked again because science. Even with all the hate Jeff Cavalier gets these days, back in 2019, he was the biggest science-based lifting channel and was the first that made working out start to make sense for myself and many others. Always going to have some degree of respect for him because of that, even if a lot of his information isn't entirely accurate. Very informative video, no doubt. Here's some food for thought. Number 1, clickbait. Using 4 of the most popular fitness influencers in your thumbnail just to gain more viewership. Number 2, double standard. You pointed out Ryan Humiston for using EMG devices. Why not point out Jeremy Ethier as well? It's getting weird already. Using colleagues that help you to get views and followers through their collaborations to get even more views, debunking them. I couldn't believe when I saw the video of Dr. Mike and now Jeff too. Seems not very ethical to me, but hey, you do you. I would change your strategy if you want to keep doing collabs with other specialists with substantially more follower base than you. You didn't debunk time under tension in a single repetition. The tension varies greatly. This is clout chasing. He's basically saying X concept has been debunked, but it works. The cook. When I swapped to an emphasis on tut, my gains improved markedly. I made sure every set went for at least 50 seconds and I saw much better results than before, without any change in the terms of approaching failure. Part of this may be attributed to spending more time in the stretch position, but regardless, tut has been a godsend. And so I can't remember the last time that I saw a science-best trainer being criticized this much in the comments section. And so my opinion, bro fell off. He needs to touch grass. He was being glazed by all these other social media influencers, having them on their channel, to all of a sudden criticizing everyone while saying that time under tension has been debunked, while at the same time, you should use time under tension.
The conclusion they arrived at is that sets of anywhere around 5 to 50 reps are equally effective for building muscle.
And so if you're looking for maximum hypertrophy, reps in the range of 5 to 50 appear to be optimal. And so does time under tension not state that you should lift an exercise for a certain amount of time? And so if you did a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, would that not be a low time of tension? While doing sets higher, 5 plus, would that not take longer? And so if you say that time under tension is not important, are you not disproving that by saying that reps should be in the range of 5 to 50? Last I checked, a set of 50 reps takes a heck of a long time.
Hitting failure appears to be the more important part versus purely maximizing time under tension.
And so yeah, we get it. Going close to failure, it's very important. But if you go to failure on a set of 1, 2, 3, or 4, is that not a low time under tension in comparison that if you go to failure on a set of 5 plus? And so how can you sit there and say time under tension, it's not important, when you just stated that it is?
The most recent review paper on repetition tempo found that although a slightly more controlled eccentric or lowering phase and a slightly more explosive concentric or lifting phase may optimize hypertrophy based on some preliminary evidence, most evidence suggests that a wide variety of repetition tempos appear equally effective for building muscle.
And so what about rep tempo? He's saying in some studies that they say that it's important to go slower on the eccentric and faster on the concentric. And what does that exactly mean? It means that you need to control the weight. You can't just swing the weight, cheat curls, cheat reps, and not focus on the tut, the time under tension. If you're, for example, doing bicep curls and you swing the weight up and you just lower the weight down, you're not using effective tut. When you're doing time under tension training, you're concentrating, flexing, and squeezing the weight and slowly lowering the weight down. There's constant tension on the muscle. And so if you do a set of 10 reps and you're lowering the weight slowly, the time under tension is going to be greater than if you just swing the weight up and lower it down as quickly as possible. And so does it not make sense that tut is actually important? Take 2 people, go to the gym, one does sets of 5, swinging the weights. The other does sets of 10 with greater control. Who do you think is going to build more muscle?
In fact, they recommend a set duration, or time under tension per set, of 20 to 70 seconds for hypertrophy.
And next up, where he actually disproves what he's himself saying, for hypertrophy training, to build muscle, the optimal tut, time under tension, for a set should be between 20 and 70 seconds. And so he's saying time under tension has been debunked. But yet he's saying time under tension should be 20 to 70 seconds. If it's debunked, why is there a time limit? Think about it. And so I don't know about you, but how many of you out there time your sets? How many of you have timed your sets on various exercises? For example, a squat, bicep curl, bench press, a deadlift. Count how many seconds it takes you to do a lift. If you do a set of 5, do you really think it's going to take you 20 seconds? When I do a set of 5 on the bench press, it might take me 10 seconds. It's not taking me 20 to 70 seconds. But if you're doing time under tension training, you're going to slowly lower the weight and perhaps pause at the bottom and explode on the way up. And between 20 and 70 seconds, that is a lot. I dare you to time your sets. Now, I'll give you an example. I did 405 for 50 reps in 50 seconds for a Guinness World Record deadlift. 50 reps in 50 seconds. And when I used to do my leg presses back in the day, I used to time it at a minimum time under tension of 40 seconds. My goal was to fail between 40 and 60 seconds. I would do sets of 15, and I would take my time slowly lifting the weight and forcing the weight up more quickly. Now, in comparison, if I just banged the weight up, did a set of 12, it would take me under 20 seconds. And so I could perform a set of 12 repetitions in under 20 seconds, which is below the 20 to 70. But in comparison, if I focus on TUT, it's going to be closer to 40, 60 seconds. And so does that not prove that TUT is actually important?
I guarantee that if you're doing anywhere between 5 to 50 reps, unless you're going incredibly fast, you'll fall within this range.
And so clearly your guarantee isn't as good as my Turk Pillar and GO2 Max guarantee, because in this guarantee, we actually go through with it. But in your guarantee, I dare you, go and time it. If you do between 5 and 50 reps, he says guaranteed is between 20 and 70 seconds. Go and do a set of 5 on the bench press right now and time it. And see if everyone is taking over 20 seconds to bench press their weight for 5 reps. Time it, I dare you. And he says, unless it's incredibly fast. No. It doesn't have to be incredibly fast to last 20 seconds. Last I checked, many people can't even last 20 seconds in bed. And they're not going all that fast. Think of it. How many of you think it takes 4 seconds to do each and every rep that you're doing? Hardly anyone trains that slowly. And those of you who are, you're doing TUT training. You have TUT in your mind, time under tension. You're thinking, I know how to build more muscle. For example, rather than ego lifting in the gym, for example, the Trend Twins trying to bench press 585 pounds, you use a lighter weight and you use control. You bench press 405 pounds and use TUT. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many people bench press that slowly? Almost nobody. Most people are going to go 1, 2, 3. And so each rep is taking perhaps 1 or 2 seconds. That's how most people train. And so despite the fact that this guy is a bodybuilder, a PhD, competitor, he doesn't even know about TUT training.
There is no need to focus on time under tension and slow things down a ton.
And so he says there's no need, no benefit to time under tension training. That you don't need to slow it down a ton. Yes, you do. Has this guy been coaching people for decades? I have. I've been coaching people for over 30 years. And so I've asked people to send me videos. I was coaching people, send me a video. I want to watch your set so I can correct your form. They'd send me videos of them doing squats, bench presses, leg presses, and so on. All the time I'd respond back with, you're going too fast. You're ego lifting. Lighten the weight, slow down the repetitions. Most people are dropping the eccentric way too fast. Each rep on average taking only 1 to 2 seconds. And so I've had people send me videos of them doing leg press, doing sets of 10 to 12, doing it in under 20 seconds.
Just use a reasonable rep range, usually 5 to 12, with some higher rep work in your program for completeness.
And notice how he says do most of your sets between 5 to 12, what some rep range in higher levels for completion. Is that not a mix? And so if time under tension wasn't important, why does he suggest that you do some sets higher than 12? If it wasn't important, he would say, do all of your sets between 1 and 12. You don't need to worry about TUT. Do all your sets of 5. If TUT isn't important, why is it important to do some higher reps?
As far as repetition tempo goes, take at least a couple seconds on the way down and be explosive during the concentric.
And no, you don't need to do slower reps, but make sure that you take at least 2 seconds to go on the way down. Didn't you just contradict yourself? Don't do your reps any slower, but take at least 2 seconds on the way down. 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3, up. How many people are bench pressing with that slow of a descent? I see 1, 2. Most people are not slowing their reps down. And so when I'm at the gym watching people lift in the real world, not in some science lab, I'm watching people rep out faster than last time. People are not consciously slowing down the rep. They're not training with time under tension. And so I tell them, you should stop ego lifting in the gym. You should use lighter weights and slow the weight down to prevent injuries and build more muscle than last time safely. But Milo Wolf, no. I'm just going to throw Jeff Cavalier, Jeff Nippard, and others under the bus, guys who have promoted me in their own videos, and tell you that time under tension, it doesn't work. While at the same time telling you that time under tension works. And I'm going to be sure to plug in my training app to make more freaking money than last time.
Congratulations. You should never need to worry about time under tension ever again.
And so you'll never have to worry about time under tension again if you train using the principles of time under tension. It'd be like me saying all you have to do is an hour of cardio a day and you won't have to worry about how many steps you're getting. Yeah, kinda obvious. If you're riding your bike for an hour a day, I don't need to worry about counting steps. But what if you're not riding the bike? And so there you have it. Have I explained myself? Can you see how Wolf Coaching is clickbaiting his videos to shit on other YouTubers that have perhaps helped him to get where he is, while all the while calling out the science, but at the same time explaining that science that actually works. And so yeah, I only have my master's. I don't have my PhD. I must not understand statistics, as if I haven't gotten the highest mark in everything. And so just because I'm a manlet and I sound like the parrot from Aladdin doesn't mean I don't know how to fucking train harder than last time. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm, like the video if you liked it. Please watch one of those two bloops. And of course, the harder than last time supplements, the cookbooks, all that, you can get to my website and order that. Code Greg, 15% off. And remember, I have free diet and training programs close to 50 pages from 1,500 calories, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000. It's free. Giving away nearly 100,000 of these copies. But oh, Coach Greg is just a snake oil salesman. Am I really? And so interested in the free training program, click the link in the description. Don't forget about the cookbooks, the training books, coaching plans by me and my team. Also the Harder Than Last Time clothing line. And until next time, I am out.